We're with David Shapiro. David is a criminal lawyer in San Diego, California. He's agreed to answer our online questions specifically related to domestic violence and assault. David, let's go into the question that was asked. This question was from Brandon. Brandon says, I was arrested and charged with domestic violence assault. It was really just a bad argument, and now my wife wants to drop the charges. Someone told me that San Diego has a no drop policy when it comes to domestic violence. Can they do that?
Well, first off, the issue is whether or not your wife can drop the charges. And the answer to that is no. Once an arrest is made, it is out of your wife's hands, meaning that, you know, the decision to arrest you in some degree is out of your wife's hands once the call was made. The decision to file charges is in a large degree out of your wife's hands. The decision to proceed with a disposition or a certain outcome is out of your wife's hands to a reasonable degree. If your wife is named as the alleged victim in the case, she has certain rights, one of which is to be consulted or to have her opinion heard as to what her preferences are as to the outcome of the case. But it's not as simple as, oh, she doesn't want to prosecute anymore, she's just going to drop the charges, because she doesn't have that power. The prosecutor, the city attorney, the district attorney are the ones who have that power. Their role is to consider what your wife's preferences are. But even more so than that, their role is to move forward if they believe that they could prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt and believe that it's in the best interest of all parties and the community involved. So, you know, I wish it was as simple as just your wife could call up and get that done. As far as San Diego having a no drop policy, I've represented people on domestic violence charges where the cases were dismissed by the prosecutor for a number of reasons. Cases, you know, factual reasons, evidentiary reasons, issues with their witnesses, particularly, you know, the wife or the aggrieved party not wanting to come to court or coming to court, refusing to testify, all those types of things. There's so many variables that go into it. What San Diego, I believe, does have from a law enforcement perspective is this pro-arrest policy. More often than not, we see that once they get involved on a domestic violence call, and if allegations of domestic violence are made, someone is going to get taken to jail if for no other reason than to diffuse the situation. But as far as a firm, we don't drop any cases that we file. No, that's certainly not something to be foolish enough to write down, and it's certainly not something they've adhered to, at least as far as what I've seen in the cases that I've represented throughout the county.
Excellent. If you have any other questions for David, just post them in the comments section below. He's going to answer any questions you have. Thanks for your time, David.
My pleasure. And I can also be reached at my office at 619-295-3555.